I went to a local comic book show and I picked up a key comic that was already signed by its creators. Stay tuned to find out what I got. Welcome back, comic book fans. This is Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and today we're going to go over some nice key comics that I picked up at a local comic book show in Laurel, Maryland. This was happening during Super Bowl Sunday, and it was a great little show. It is hosted by Clandestine Comics. This is a show that happens about every month of the year, whether it's in Laurel or Hunt Valley, Maryland. They alternate month to month as it goes. So if you're ever in the area during these time periods during the month, make sure you check those guys out. It's a great little show. I encourage y'all to show up. You can always find great comics there. There are plenty of dealers that deal with brand new moderns, and you've got dealers who have golden age goodness. So you can find a little bit of everything there. Always have a great time, and I was definitely on the hunt for some nice books today, and we'll get into that. I've got some nice little keys, and I've got one pretty big key that was already signed by the creators, and we'll go over that towards the end of the video, so stay tuned for that a little bit later. But before we begin, what do I always ask you guys to do? Hit the like button, slap the subscribe, and make sure you hit that content bell so you're notified when I put out fresh content every Monday and Friday at 10 a.m. Hope you join me each and every week. The shows will differ every week, so definitely join me. And make sure you follow me on Instagram and Facebook, where I do sell a lot of the books that I get graded and slabbed. So reach out on Instagram or Facebook, DM me, message me, or even use my email, collectorauctions@yahoo.com. If you ever see a book that I show off in the videos and you're interested in, you can reach out to me and make an offer. I will listen to just about everything, but definitely go to Instagram because those are some of the books that I definitely have for sale, and I've got special offers on there, and you'll make out much better than you will if you go to my eBay store, where fees are a little bit higher, so the prices are a little bit higher too. So check me out there on Instagram and Facebook. Okay, so this was a fun little show to go to. It was on Super Bowl Sunday, so it was last week by the time you see this video, and it was good to go in, and I didn't know what I was looking for exactly, except for a couple of key comics that I'm wanting to find for the PC to get graded to add to a CGC version of that book. I'm looking for Spider-Man 294, Kraven's Last Hunt, in a super high grade. I'm also looking for John Byrne XMen, also in high grade. I've got all of these, but I keep looking for better copies. The X-Men, I'm trying to get that 9.6 at the very least, or a 9.8 on that run, and that is a completely PC project. So those are the books that I have in mind all the time when I'm going to the show like this today. But I'm always interested in seeing what else I can find. One of the things I'm trying to do is pull back from just buying minor keys that, if you can get a 9.8, have a little bit of money to them. Sometimes I'm looking for the PC, sometimes I'm looking to help to resell. So some books will be for PC, some will be resale, but I didn't want to go into the show and just start buying stuff willy-nilly. I wanted to focus on the ones I wanted for my projects and to pull back a little bit. I spent a lot of money down in Virginia Beach a couple weeks ago, so I was trying to pull back a little bit and see what I could find. So that meant if I could find that Spider-Man, yes. And definitely take a look at X-Men. You can always find John Byrne X-Men on walls. It's not that hard. But find him in the high condition at a price that you're comfortable with. There's my challenge. So when I got to the show, and I got there a little later than I expected, it was good to run into Longbox Love Affair. It was always good to see him at the shows. I always enjoy watching his channel. So guys, check out Longbox Love Affair when you get a chance. And I saw Rob from Cool Stuff Collectibles. I didn't get a chance to say hi to him, but he's always at these local comic book shows here in Maryland. And if you get a chance, check out his channel, Cool Stuff Collectibles. And both good guys. Definitely good to see them at the show. So I ended up going around the show, and I didn't really find a lot that I wanted to look at first. I couldn't find that Spider-Man to save my life. Wasn't in the room as far as I could tell. So I switched over. I was looking for John Byrne X-Men, and I found a few copies that I was kind of interested in. Right now I'm looking for X-Men 131 with the White Queen, Emma Frost on the cover, and that's one that I only have one copy of. I'm trying to find as I said, a better copy on every one of these, of course, but certain issues I'm trying to find a better copy that I know I need to upgrade. So that one was one I was definitely looking for, and I found a couple, none of which were in the condition that I wanted to get into that 9.6. I felt like it was probably in that very fine near mint minus, but I'm trying for a 9.8. So I wasn't finding what I really wanted. And I probably circled that room, and it was crowded for a Super Bowl Sunday. It was pretty crowded. So I circled that room probably, I would say, 8 to 10 times before I ended up finding something. And this one book I ended up buying. The last book I'm going to show you today is the book that I started with. And the reason I started with that book was I didn't want to dive into buying $10, $5 books, dollar books, and just start adding books to the collection. I wasn't looking for small keys. I wasn't looking just to buy stuff. I was looking for special books, bigger books. And I didn't want to spend the budget on smaller stuff before I found the big thing that I really, really wanted. And so I held back. I didn't dive in, and I didn't. There's one dealer who I ended up getting a few books from, but I saved him from the very end because I knew I would always find some really good books in his boxes. He has these $10 and $5 boxes that you can find some real nice minor keys, and that's what I did, but only after I found the big key. And I'll show you that one last. Let's get into what I picked up after I picked up that big giant key. First book was Hulk number 2. This is the second time in the last week or so I've picked this up. It is, at one point they were saying this was the first true appearance of the Red Hulk first appearance. Now I think they've switched back to issue 1, which he is on the cover. But this is still a pretty good book to get, especially right now with Harrison Ford going in to play General Ross now, and hopefully in the Thunderbolts movie, MCU. Still a good book to get, and I kind of started to break my rules a little bit here. I didn't want to get minor keys that have to grade out that there's 9.8s to be worth something, and I kind of broke my rule in this a little bit, only because I just bought this here a few weeks ago, doing the same method. So 9.8s right now, literally in January, went for $137, but as far back as just in November, were almost a $300 book for issue number 2. So I still felt like there was value in this, and I think these early Red Hulk issues, especially number 1, and I think number 2, because as I said, this was, I think, the first true appearance, because you don't really see the Hulk in issue 1. Yes, he's on the cover, but not in the issue, really. You do see him in this one. So I still think it's going to be key, and I still think it'll pick up. I think this will be a good pickup. The second one here is a book that I have never got. There's some slight spec on the book. It's Madame Xanadu. This is from April 1981. I've never had this book, and I didn't have to look this up to know that there is some spec value on this and on that character, especially if they ever do the Justice League Dark in the DCU with I was about ready to say the Snyderverse, but in the James Gunn verse, I guess. So this is a book right here, graded right now is the most highly graded book out there. You'll find more in the census as a 9.8 and the most recent sale on this went back in December for $176. So even though I didn't look this one up, this one again started to fall into under that $200 threshold that I'm trying to set at this point. But I'd never had this book, so I'm real happy to pick it up. They had a couple copies of this, and I was real happy to pick this one up out of the 3, I think, and it was just a super clean copy. Every one of these books I'm picking up are 9.8 candidates, truly. Most of these, as I said, they're minor keys. They have to get that 9.8 to be really worth something. 9.6s, most of them will drop below that $100 value, and that's the kind of books I'm trying to stop buying at this point. But here we go. I continue with it. I keep breaking this rule. Third book I picked up was Legends number 3. I keep getting this book. It's a great book. This is during that time when the new Justice League was over with. In fact, at the end of this miniseries, you get the new Justice League, which is back to the classic Justice League with Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern. And this right here I get it was during the John Byrne era. You've got John Byrne doing the artwork on this. This is the first appearance of Amanda Waller. That's the key on this comic. It's always a popular book. I've got 9/8 on this and I've sold them. I've got 9/6 and I've held on to them because value in the market right now is so low. But this right here, this is the most graded book on the census. Back just a few days ago, literally $175 off of eBay. So this is a book that if I send into CGC, at this point, I would want to get this into a pre-screen. I don't want this falling down to a 9/6. It's just not worth the time and the money to get it in a 9/6. So good book to always get. They had multiple copies of this as well. These are 5. Actually, I don't remember which ones of all these I'm showing you are $5 or $10. 3 were 5, 3 of them were 10. So it was about $45 altogether. This right here is a great book, and if these all grade out to 9.8s, then I've added a lot of value to the collection. And here we go. We continue with the keys. This was XMen 184. I've got plenty. I've actually got multiple 9.8s in the PC right here. Market has fallen on this. This is the first appearance of Forge, and market has fallen. In fact, I might have to go back and see what prices I've got on one of the ones I've got listed on eBay because it hasn't sold. So my guess is I've priced it and put it on eBay at a time when the market was up much higher. Right now, a 9.8 goes for $150 as it did just a few days ago on eBay. So my guess is I've got it drastically overpriced on eBay, and I'll have to reprice that and everything like that. But this is a book, if you guys are ever interested in a graded 9.8 on this, reach out to me. I do have multiple copies of that in the PC right now. All right, and continuing with those keys, this is a book that I cannot stop picking up when I find a really good copy. This is Alpha Flight number 33. This is the first appearance of Lady Deathstrike, who goes on to become a major Wolverine villain. And great book. They had multiples of this as well. I think this was another one of the $10 ones. And still has a lot of value. January issue sold on eBay for best offer for $195, so it's probably a few dollars less than that. But right before that, it was going for $200. This is basically probably a $175 to $200 book as a 9.8. This is a super clean copy. I've been lucky. I've graded my own copy of this out of my PC as a 9.8. I ended up selling it, and what do? I go back and I put books back into my PC again. We'll just start the whole thing over again. But great book. It's got some great Mike Mignola artwork here. Can't go wrong. These are all really nice, minor-ish key comics. These are great books to have in your PC if you're collecting. They're also got a great value if you can get them at 9.8. So I think these are good books to invest in. Not a lot of money invested in this, but I think the return on this would be pretty good if let's say, for example, I could sell every one of these. And assuming you get those 9/8, right? But the last book I picked up from this second dealer was Captain America 275. This right here is a Mike Zeck artwork. It is the first appearance of Helmut Zemo as Baron Zemo. Now, this was not his first appearance. His first appearance was as the Phoenix back in issue 168 of Captain America, drawn by the legendary Sal Buscema. But in this issue, he makes his return, so second appearance of Helmut Zemo, the son of the original Baron Zemo, but he picks up his father's mantle in this issue, and today this is the character that they've used for the MCU and for the Thunderbolts. It's a key character, and it'd be interesting to see if we get that Thunderbolts movie and we get to see Helmut Zemo again. That would be fantastic. This is a great book. I've got this in the PC, and I've gotten it signed. I've gotten it signed by all the creators, and I'll never get it graded because I was getting this signed back in the day when the creators used to sign their names on the splash page on the inside, where there was a big white area down here with all the company's legal jargon. And so I'll never get that graded, but it's nice to get another copy into the PC that's a clean one and it does have some pressable defects. All of these do, really, that I look forward to getting into the shop and working on. Hopefully we'll merit out those great 9.8s on all of these when I eventually get them in the CGC. We'll see about that. But That was it from the second dealer. Now, I only picked these up after I picked up this one other big comic. And this comic, I saw it, I put it back. And I thought about it, and I'm like, one, like I said, it was signed. It's signed by 2 creators. But luckily, I know the signatures well enough to know that I'm pretty sure that it's legitimate. But the other thing that got me on this was the condition of the book. If they hadn't been signed and I found this book, I probably would have still bought it. And it's one that I've already got multiple times on the PC. But I keep looking, as I said, keep looking for higher and higher grades to eventually get graded. The fact that it was signed was kind of what put me over the top, because I've seen one signature a lot on this book. I haven't seen any of the second. And let me show you what I'm talking about. It's Uncanny XMen 142. Now, some of you may argue that this isn't a major key. Be that as it may, this is the second issue of the Days of Future Past storyline, which they turned into a movie, for goodness sake. It is not the first issue. The cover on the first one, 141, is fantastic. This is actually a Terry Alston cover. He did this one by himself. And what you have in this issue is the death of these alternate reality X-Men, Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm, and the conclusion to the Days of Future Past storyline, of course. John Byrne X-Work, he's only going to do one more issue of this run right after this, but everybody knows this storyline. But you can see it right there. I'm talking, and you can see it right there. Well, we'll start with the one on the top. This up here, you got Chris Claremont. But right there in the center on the white spot where the Sentinel is blasting Wolverine, you've got John Byrne's signature. And I'm pretty sure it's as legitimate as you can get. I've gotten John Byrne autographs in the past, many years ago, but I'm familiar enough to, at least it looks recognizable. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to get it into CBCS after I give it probably a quick press. This is a super clean copy, and I would have probably picked this up, even though it's not on the top of my need list for the X-Men, the John Byrne X-Men. This right here would have jumped out because the condition's really fantastic. But the signatures put it over the top, and I tried to find some comps for this. As I'm doing the research for this video, I go to Go Collect, and you can switch it off to signed books rather than just Universal Blue Label. Now this is CGC, so take that for what it's worth, because this is the only way I'm going to get this graded now. It's going to have to be CBCS, but that's your only option. You can't send this to CGC. They won't acknowledge these autographs like that. They'll be unknown. They're not going to verify them, but CBCS does, because they work with Beckett. That's what they do. So the best I could come up with for a 9.6 on this, graded with just Claremont, really was only like a $228 book. Now I still think that's really good, and even with just Claremont, and I did this with CBCS, I think I would definitely be in that ballpark. But it doesn't. It has Byrne. 9.8 though. Went back just with Claremont, went back for over $1,000 back in September. And I'm going, well, that's crazy. Now, I saw some ones that were higher priced, but it was signed by multiple people. I saw one that had Stan Lee, Claremont, Jim Shooter, Terry Alston, and I think the colorist on here too. But what I couldn't find was anything in the last that was even that they could even track with John Byrne on there. Not a single one. I couldn't find it. And that's why I ended up buying this book, because of John Byrne's signature on here. So we'll see what I did. We'll send this into CBCS hopefully in the next month or so, and we'll see what we get. It's been a while since I've sent anything in directly to CBCS, and I'm not even sure how long they're taking on things now. But I've slowed my submissions to CGC, so I've got some room to be able to explore CBCS a little bit, and I look forward to that. So guys, let me know, what do you think about these books that I've picked up from this local comic book show? I think the minor keys are pretty good. I think can add a lot of value to them without spending a lot of money. This book right here, I'm the most excited about, just because of that John Byrne autograph, but also the condition of this book I think will be really good. It's too bad I can't get it for CGC, but I am excited about getting it into CBCS and seeing how I'm doing. Hopefully it will grade out high, and that these autographs will come back as authentic. Definitely, that would be just an absolute plus. I don't mind getting CBCS into the PC. I've got a few books already. You've seen me get books in that are from Stan Sakai. I'm trying to think who else I've got signed from CBS. I don't know. But point is, I don't mind having it. That's the true bonus for CBCS, is that they can verify these autographs, things that have already been signed. Otherwise, you're not going to get it from CGC. So that's about your only option, really. But guys, that's it. I'm out of here. Join me Monday, where I go over some more books that I've been picking up recently from eBay, whatnot, and Heritage Auctions. It's a scattering of miscellaneous books that I speculate on for myself, for the PC, books that if they're raw, I work on in the shop, try to get them into CGC and try to get those high grades, again, for the PC or for resale. But that's it. Hope you enjoyed today's video. And remember, every comic has a story.